Creative Life Survival Guide, where I share survival tips on creativity, productivity, and balancing a creative life. I'm your host, Laura. Hello, creatives. Today, I want to talk to you about finding comfort in silence and stillness, especially when things in our life feel like chaos. Now, we all have different personalities when it comes to our creative lives. Some of us are constantly going, our minds race, we feel the need to be moving or creating or producing all the time. I picture people who thrive in their creative practice when they're out in public, at a coffee shop, surrounded by people. Energy fuels them. Others, however, very similar to me, find they're more productive or tap into their creative juices when there is silence or stillness. Now, they live for focus in the quiet. They've learned to look inward for their inspiration. And if you're in the former category, especially in a time where social distancing has become the norm, silence and quarantine and isolation can feel super overwhelming. And you're not alone. And it's okay to not really know what to do. It's a little scary at first to be in this unknown, but there are some great benefits to embracing the silence and stillness of being alone or having your routine thrown off. You can learn to use this in your creative life as well. And now that you have time to sit back with fewer obligations, it's a great time to rediscover your priorities. Unless you're a minimalist, I bet that you've been running around with a lot to do before this quarantine, before coronavirus. You are basically the opposite of still. You thrive on social activities and being busy or having a bunch of things to do. And when you're in a position where those things aren't possible or you suddenly have nothing to do, it can be a bit of a shock. So I'm going to ask you to think back to the last time you scrolled to the end of your social media feed. And I mean the end, like when you get your Instagram notification that says you're all caught up. And I bet you can't really remember half of the things that crossed your screen. Basically, it was mindless entertainment. Now, I don't bring this up to shame you because I do it too. I love some mindless scrolling or catching up on the latest Instagram posts. But I want you to think about some of the things in your life that could have provided actual value to you. So, is there a puzzle that you want to finish, a book you want to read, a book you want to write, a painting? What about your friend who you keep meaning to reach out to? What habit have you always wanted to try? And when you're faced with silence and stillness, use this time to rediscover what's important in your life. Is it really social media, or are there other things that you can be doing to enrich your life or experience the world? And you can use this stillness to also take inventory of the positives around you. So social media and the news are filled with so many negative messages right now. It's bombarding you with stuff that really just brings you down. So shut it off. Instead of wallowing in the negativity, just remove it completely. Delete friends who only post negativity. Turn off the news and start a gratitude practice. You can meditate, you can journal, you can just simply recite some sort of gratitude every morning. Focus on something new, focus on the positives, and take time to connect with your values. If everything is a priority, nothing is. And the same goes with your values. So narrow your list of values or guidelines you want to live by. Think about those values and if there's still things you want to pursue. Start thinking of single actions you can take every day that align with some of those values. So if you value relationships, reach out to one new person a day. If you value creativity, take on a new project. If you value connection, sit with a friend or family member and play a game or just talk. If you value curiosity or learning, maybe find a course to take or learn a new language. Basically, find new ways to get your inspiration and take your values to the next level. If you thrive on being out and busy, embrace this new situation as if it's a creative challenge. Think about, your skills and how you can apply them within this silence and stillness. Discover new ways to deliver your craft or practice something new. We see a lot of musicians right now doing Instagram lives, they're doing Facebook lives, they're holding online concerts and finding a way to share their craft. And then find new ways to, just become a beginner and find new crafts that you can take or start doing, and kind of just remove the expectations and pressure that everybody has put on this situation. I mean, some people thrive under these new challenges and others are going to struggle, and it's okay. It's okay if you aren't able to create. It's okay if you can't find the energy or the passion to do things under these new circumstances. Because guess what? You don't have to create anything. It's okay to just sit back and just be still. And I know it's frustrating to see others maybe succeeding during this time. They're thriving, but you are unique and special, and you don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to create. Everyone reacts to these sorts of situations differently, and you are no exception. My advice is to do what you can in whatever capacity you can. If that means as a writer, you write one sentence, write one sentence. If that means you write 0 sentences, do that as well. Figure out what works for you. Let go of feeling guilty if you can't create, or maybe if you just don't want to, if you don't have the energy. Just stay within yourself and trust the process. Trust that you will find something that works for you. I strongly suggest you at least try to come back to your work, especially when you're ready, but find little pieces that you can do that are within your control. So these are great ways to tap into the silence and stillness. Practice being still, try a new craft, but don't feel the pressure. Don't get sucked into the pressure of needing to do everything or needing to do it all or living up to the potential that you were creating before this pandemic, before the silence and stillness and isolation. Take care of yourself first, however that needs to happen. And if you're interested in passing the time with a good book, I actually have 2 novels available on Amazon, Soul Forgotten and Soul Remembered. Those links will be in the show notes. And bonus, if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to discuss on a future podcast, reach out, because this is a time of confusion. It's a time of uncertainty. If there is something that you would like help with, I would love to help out. So reach out at laura-winter.com/podcast and ask your question, and we might make a future episode out of it. So that's all I have for you guys today, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Creative Life Survival Guide. Be sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen. To find more information or survival tips for your creative life, head to laura-winter.com.